Line concealment is a massive part of carp fishing, trying to avoid the carp brushing into your lines and spooking off of them. So you might be wondering, why have I got my rods right up high with super tight lines going out across the lake? Well, today I'm fishing with the washing line method. This tactic is used mostly on sort of smaller venues and places where you want to set a trap in the margins, lower a rig in, but then you don't want to have the line running all the way across the lake to your swim. The washing line method revolves around suspending your line above the water until you get near your spot and then running down to the bottom where your rig is. This means that you could fish 20 yards across there. I can put another rod down the right hand side, maybe 30 yards away. I could fish a rod all the way over there, 40 yards away. But I've only got a few meters of line actually in the water running down to each of my rigs. Minimizing the amount of line in the water in your swim definitely helps when the carp are very wary. On pressured, small waters, this is where the washing line method really comes into its own. So how do you set up the washing line method? Well, the best thing to do is just to take your lead without any rig on and cast across onto the far bank, or cast down the margins or wherever your spot is going to be. Walk round with a bank stick, and on the top of that bank stick, you want to wrap an elastic band round a few times until it's quite tightly around the top of the bank stick. Then stick it into the ground on the edge of the water, get it in nice and solid. Then you can find your lead, pick that up, and loop on your rig. For this, I like to use a quick chain swivel. One of these with a crook on it means you can loop that loop of your rig on. It just makes it a lot quicker rather than tying things up on the bank. So once you've got your rig on the end, you can then creep down to the margins and flick your rig out onto the spot that you want to fish. This method is best used when you're fishing margin spots quite close to the bank. If you want to get a little bit further out, you can use a bank stick or a landing net pole, as that can help swing your bait out a little bit further. Anyway, you've got your rig in the water, maybe you've thrown a little bit of bait around it, and then you can take your line, fold it into a sort of like doubled over loop and tuck that up underneath the elastic band. Once that's held in place, at short range, that'll hold on its own. But if you're fishing a bit further out, maybe it's a bit windy, you'll want to take a bit of grass or a reed stem and just tuck it underneath that loop. That will lock it in place. It won't lock it tight enough that it's, stuck there, but should you get a fish, it will pull the line out of that clip, out from underneath the elastic band and release the fish. Back in your swim, you want to set your bank stick up quite high, point your rod upwards so that you can keep your line up and off the surface of the water, and tighten it right up, clip on a quite heavy bobbin, and you're all good to go. You're now fishing quite a long way away. You might be fishing, a far margin or under some overhanging trees or something, but you don't have loads of line running through the water, so you're less likely to scare the fish away. When you actually get a bite, normally the fish will just pick up the rig, pull away, it will pop out of the elastic band, and your rod tip will just fall slack. As your rod falls slack, the bobbin will probably fall, you'll get a few beeps on the alarm, and then you want to grab your rod, tighten the drag or click down the bait runner and reel quickly to catch up with the fish. Almost always the fish will just pull away and you'll tighten up and you'll hook into the fish. It's a method that I've been using lately on this particular lake to great success. These fish are super wary. Any bit of line, especially a tight line running through the water, the fish do not like it and they'll spook off to other parts of the lake. But by utilising this method, I've managed to catch 3 or 4 really good carp lately, and I definitely think that keeping the line out of the water has put more fish on the bank for me. Another thing is probably best to avoid this method if you're fishing somewhere with loads of geese and swans, as they can sort of fly through the lines and cause havoc, so it's best used somewhere that's reasonably quiet. Well, this lake hasn't done a lot of bites this year and it's been hard fishing, but by keeping my line out of the water, I've managed to catch quite a few of these very wary carp. Hopefully this video helped you I'm going to focus on landing this fish, and I'll see you on the fishing tutorials channel again very soon. Oh, he's a beast!